What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 23 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Karl Franz campaign. Well, as we saw last time, Peter drew out the orcs of the massive GHAL into a field battle, and destroying them there and breaking the broken axe for good. We will not be seeing Grom anymore, which is a little bit unfortunate due to the fact that his defeat trait, Weight Watcher, is pretty darn useful at the very least for getting high relationship bonuses with elves. That said, as somebody pointed out in the comments, Ulthuan is a complete mess right now because Nikari is doing pretty well. And on top of that, Yvresse is currently fighting Avalorn and Eataine, and I don't know what the heck is going to happen there. I'm not even sure who to trade with anymore. Originally I was hoping to trade with the High Elves, but now it's looking like we don't want to trade with Eltharion, we want to trade with Avalorn and Eataine, assuming that they are not actually fighting each other as well, which is also a distinct possibility. It's I've seen it happen a couple of times, though they're usually friends. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this... Oh, I forgot the most important thing about last time. We finally confederated the Talabeclanders, which gave us 2 more territories. Well, actually 1.5 territories, but more importantly, 2 more Elector counts, which gave us a bunch of bonuses and further reduced our Elector troop count, our Elector count state troop upkeep rather, and more magical items, more state troops. It's all some real good stuff. So Peter, for now, is going to be the Elector count of Hochland because it gives him extra range and reload, which for an all-range army is pretty darn useful. And of course, the Elector count of Talabecland is going to be Gregor, at least for now, mostly because, well, who else is going to be the Elector count? He's our only other army that's actually doing stuff at the current time. We also have Wolfram, who is our... still, I should say, our Elector count of Southern Sylvania, and I'm still wondering whether we should switch that out. He's going to be done fighting the vampires relatively shortly. He's approaching Vlad, so once he's done with that, he could probably be something else. On the other hand, where exactly would we put this? I'll think about it. Double XP for fighting vampire counts. Yeah, nothing else is really all that useful here. I guess the Cause Fear and Terror could be useful against non-vampire units, interestingly enough, so... Yeah, well, he'll keep it for now, but we may give him something better. Alrighty, now, what we left off with last time is the idea that we will be attacking Draika. Dulas here has moved in with a pretty darn damaged army, and it's probably a good time to attack it and destroy it so that they cannot use it for anything. I don't know where exactly it was going, but let's see. They're at war with Kislev, and they're at war with Stirland as well. I mean, technically Stirland might attack it, but I just don't think we're going to get a better opportunity to do so, so we're going to do it ourselves. Karl, let's get you your point, and let's just straight up attack. A rally for you, that was easy, and we don't have any other points to assign. You're going to keep Dragon's Tooth, and you're still using the Brass Cleaver, which is fine. Are we able to get you, Thyrus, into the army yet? No. Alas, not yet. But eventually. For now, you, Draika, are fighting currently with the Ice Court and the Stirland, which means we're going to talk to the Ice Court. And if we join this, you will give us 1,000 gold, eh? What about Stirland? Just out of curiosity. How much money would they give us for the same? If only I can find Stirland in here. There we go. Join war against Wargrove of Woe. 700. Alright, well, I guess we'll nickel and dime it and ask the Ice Court for it. If I can find them, you know how I can find them? By doing this.
They are like the motherland. Our friendship endures.
Alright, there we go.
A pleasure.
Alright, and you guys seem to want me to march up north with our armies to save Kislev, and I can certainly do that, I don't mind. We may have to make a detour, however, to the Bone Rattlers, as otherwise they will be attacking these territories. We want to revive Ostermark, and the problem there is, if we just leave them, they'll probably get killed by this. If we take this and give it to Karak Kadrin, or possibly even just take it for ourselves, depending, because there is a gold mine at Karakungur. It should be pretty good, but then the problem with that is we'd have to effectively forever defend Kazid Irkulaz enemies will be coming out of the Silver Pinnacle, and I assume it's Grimgor's Ardboys here in the Great Skull Lakes. Usually it is. The Slaves of Zar usually don't make it that far north, and the other orcs do start here, after all. So we'll have to consider what exactly we want to do with that. I don't know why Karakadrin is losing so badly, but I've generally speaking always found them to get kind of wrecked by the AI. Well, which is a shame, what can you do? Anyway, Karl, away you go, buddy.
Raise your weapons.
And they are not going to fight. Ally begins outpost construction. I did not mean to click that. And now I've lost where we are. Confusing. Okay, there we go. Alright, Karl, I guess you have to go into regular stance. This will eat up all of your movement, and you can't even reach the enemy. Which is a shame. I would have loved to have been able to both do that and go to Essen, but it looks like we still might be able to. So away you go. And there we go, Dulas in grassland, unfortunate for them, not a forest, ouch. Alrighty, so we do have 2 Zotes that we do want to take care of. There's a Feral Mantcore, but Karl should be able to take care of that in the air himself. The other concerns are obviously going to be the Swift Shiver Shards, but they have relatively low range, and of course, the Giant Wolves, which are just an amazing unit. So we will have to guard our flanks. The Halberdiers probably would get ripped apart by a unit of Giant Wolves. Their stats are absolutely deceptive, and they just dish out so much damage. But on the other hand, there's no way that they can take the Reiksguard. So we do have a lot of units guarding our flanks. Anyway, here we go. Looks like our first battle against the Wood Elves as such. Let's see if we can't steal a blue item for our trouble.
That's an order.
Alrighty, here we go. Hopefully the Hammer of Witches, unlike last episode, can actually get a few good shots off this time. Also, this will be our debut battle against the Wargrove of Woe, which should be pretty neat. Honestly, I would have loved to leave Draika alone, but the fact is she kept destroying Imperial provinces, and we just can't let that stand. Also, she does have a single unit of Dryads with bows, which are pretty neat. I believe they are an SFO unit. I wish I had access to them in my current Draika campaign, but that's a vanilla campaign. What's their missile strength? It's 28. It's not too bad. I think it's either 20 or 24 standard on the crossbows. They got pretty decent armor at that. Range is 150. I think archers were 140 and huntsmen were 170, unless I'm mistaken. They're actually a little bit less range than the Swift Shiver Shards, which are 160, which are relatively close range, and oh wait, don't these guys have the... Yeah, number of projectiles too, yeah. So they do high damage at a lower range, for example, compared to Waystalkers, or something like that. I mean, Waywatchers, rather. Anyway, we're gonna start this off by having our cannons fire at the Zotes just a little bit. Unfortunately, the cannons had to move down the hill in order to get in range, but finally, they're able to fire. The Zotes are gonna try to dodge a few shots, but that shot looked like it hit. And we can see our setup on the hill in the background. I do like this map. I've definitely played on this map quite a few times lately. I feel like, especially in my Ikit campaign, I've used this particular map to devastating effect with lines upon lines of rattling guns and warplock Jezzails, but it certainly works for the Empire as well, with the cannon or general artillery up top, the handgunners, and then the grenadiers in front of those, and then of course our melee line as well. Anyway, here we go. Looks like the enemy has already gotten angry after those few shots from the Hammer of the Witches. They're going to send an arrow of Kurnus at us, and it looks like they're going to hit a few of our units of Halberdiers. In fact, 4 died to that arrow. But that seems like kind of a waste. That does not do enough damage, or at least that didn't feel like it did enough damage to be worth it. Melkot's Mystifying Miasma also going to pop on the Halberdiers, but once again, the enemy's wasting their time because this is our summoned unit, and we're perfectly willing to sacrifice those. Alrighty, cannon is slowly making its way back uphill. Man, the Hammer of Witches has been cursed so far to spend way too much time moving uphill, but soon it'll be able to turn around and begin firing once more. I just saw a shot from the Waystalker. One hit Karl and one hit, I believe, one of the Foot Knights here, but I'm sure they'll be fine, at the very least for now. Alright, and the enemy army draws near. They're also trying to flank us with some dire doggos, or giant wolves, or rather, together with the giant bears, or is it feral bears? I want to say feral bears. It is feral bears. But they're pretty big bears, so you could say they're giant feral bears. But anyway, the enemies are going to lose that unit of dryads fairly quick as the handgunners start focusing them down, but Karl is moving around and he's going to intercept their single feral manticore, and just to make sure that they have no air force to speak of. Looks like the enemy Swift Shiver Shards are going to go for Karl, but are going to miss most of their shots, and which is certainly fine by us, and the handgunners fire away. There we go, and so do the Grenadiers as well, the you wanted to say Outriders, Bordermen. There we go, handgunners also targeting the enemy. Lord Karl is fighting that Manticore in the air, and actually after 2 shots, the Manticore is down to half HP, and at the same time is also rampaging. So, too bad for it. That thing is going to be useless relatively soon. We've also moved our Reiksguard out, as we can see in the background, who are going to go after all these Deepwood Scouts and Malevolent Dryads with bows, and should be able to take them out fairly quick. Looks like not too much work for our Halberdiers so far, as the enemy did not even try to get around this flank, which means we'll be able to draw them in to the main line in a few seconds. Our handgunners also need to rapidly switch fire towards the enemy's Zotes, rather than whatever else they were firing, and we did keep one unit of a Reiksguard back, which we can see charging through the hill there, even as they get hit by arrows of Kurnus, down to fight both of the bears and the enemy cave bats that drop down on our Bordermen. In the meantime, the Reiksguard charging through all those Swift Shiver Shards, and it's time to prevent the enemy from having any range whatsoever. Karl has knocked the Manticore out of the sky and is now going to switch his ire towards the enemy Lord here, who is trying to whack away at our main lines. Otherwise, our Knights are holding perfectly fine. It looks like this unit of Greatswords does take a little bit of damage due to bleed plus the enemy Lord hitting it, but so far has not actually lost very many models at all, and mostly has just taken HP damage, which certainly works. Great swords versus bears as well. We can see a few great swords lying dead, and what's the stats on the bears like here? I do quite like the bears in vanilla, and I imagine they're even better in SFO. 5342, melee defense is solid. Alright. Well, sorry bears, but I think you're gonna have to go down as well. They do apply some armor-piercing damage to the greatsword, so they're going to be a little bit better at dealing with them than something like the Dryads. Enemy Lord's already in bad shape, getting hit by both Karl and our handgunners as well, and is in fact about to drop with about 10% HP remaining. The rest of the enemy army is moving away, or at the very least their melee line is breaking, and though we still have to take care of the rest of the enemy range units, as well as these 3 heroes that are standing in the background. Down goes the enemy Lord, chased down by Karl, and now it's just cleaning up what's left. Alright, so it's still the Waystalker and a pair of Malevolent Dryads that are still on the field, even with the rest of the army completely broken. The last of the Zotes getting gunned down as they try to run away. And down you go, buddy. Alright, and the Reiksguard, together with Karl, now fixed on the enemy units, who, let's see, just about to break shaken. Looks like the Malevolent Dryads don't care as much, though. That should soon change. Just need Karl to get an actual few hits in. Might have actually been better to not even bother sending the Reiksguard in to attack the heroes like this, and just have Karl kill them all by himself. Because at least that way the enemy heroes wouldn't have been able to kill any of the Reiksguard models, but it's not like they lasted very long anyway. And there we go, a decisive victory, quick little battle, but we knew that was going to be quick, and because the army was already pretty badly damaged before the battle was joined. And I do think that we didn't suffer enough damage to be concerned, and thus should be able to move on to Griffin Wood and the capital of the Wargrove of Woe pretty much immediately. Not this turn, rather, but shortly thereafter. Let's hope that we can take the settlement back and recover Ostermark, though. Alright, there we go. Minimal danger, minimum damage. Let's just say we saw our opportunity here, and we took it. Pardon caps will give us 3k. Very nice. Wow, I was not expecting such a nice reward. Well,
They will obey.
could have done that earlier. Obsidian lodestone spell resistance 20%. Yeah, I don't like that particular thing. And let's see if we have another one. No, we don't. As soon as we get a second one, we'll delete it and replace it with something better. Also got to keep an eye out for another piece of armor for Mr. Karl here, who's still using the Shield of Talos, which is... I mean, the missile resistance is helpful for him in particular, but it would be nice to get a better piece of armor. You are now moving to Essen, and we are going to immediately return it to Elector and get a little bit more Imperial authority, yes? No? Oh, okay. I thought that by reviving a faction it would give us Imperial authority, but I guess we need to recover Beckhofen, which I guess we can send one of these armies to do for us. You can move out. I guess you could transfer your mortar to Gregor here. They do cost a little bit to build, but Gregor can't move. Okay, I guess we could transfer next turn. I'd rather move to Beckhofen before somebody else takes it away from us. We can also talk to you, newly recovered Ostermark, and get... non-aggression and military access is dead. I want to trade. Well, that's just rude. Actually, before we do, I just want to double check that nobody else wants to trade. No, nobody does. Okay. Nobody wants to trade with us. With the Empire. Shocking.
Empire's blessings, yes.
Alrighty, there we go. I'm not being sarcastic, it's genuinely shocking. Alrighty, well, Karl, I guess you're gonna head out towards Griffin Wood then. We could try to move towards Nagenhof as well. But we probably won't get a better opportunity to attack the place. And ooh, I wonder if Gregor here could also help. It really depends on if Karl takes 2 turns to get there, or just the 1. We also may want to transfer another unit over to him so that we can have Thyrus here join the army. I'll see, he does have replenished troops as well, which will certainly help out. We're going to give that to him immediately, as we are going to take a while before we get Soulfire or Shield of Faith. Quite nice though they are. Alrighty, well, Karl, you did not level up, but Theon certainly did. I really wish he didn't have Determined, but now he's been with us so long that can't just let him go. I believe we were moving through Arcane Focus, yes? So, next up is either Untapped Potential or Further Study for the Reduction. Both quite nice, and both quite useful for him. Currently, this would actually allow us to get more capacity than we did before, so we would have then access to further magic that we didn't before, but would it be more than reducing the spell cost by 2%? I'm not sure, and I'm not willing to do the math right now, so let's just do Untapped Potential. And then we'll move through both either way, so it's not like it's going to make that much of a difference. And then we'll also want to get the improved scrying techniques as early as possible. We have a relative lack of items, and we're certainly going to need a lot more. Also, Sigmar's Ward is going to be quite helpful due to the extra attrition cost reduction, or attrition cost, just generally attrition reduction, as Karl's been kind of spamming that, and I don't see him needing to stop anytime soon. Alrighty, what's up next? Karl's moved Recruiter. Ah, yes, you have a couple things to do. First of all, you need to recruit a free company to replace that of Gregor, who lost one, and Gregor, you need to move north towards Bellacore. I don't know what he's doing here, but wherever it is, I don't like it.
I go where I am needed.
Alright, north you go, buddy. The Castle Baston, which does have the State Troop Levy, which I guess is quite nice, and actually I forgot to turn that off. You also have State Troop Levy, but can turn now to Council of Burgomeisters so that we can upgrade this next turn. Honestly, not that much of a save, but still probably the better thing to pick here. You're still in the State Troop Levy as well, but you can switch that off as well to go into probably count. No, you're going to need to go to Host Vestag. You have terrible public order. Oh, everywhere has terrible public order. We have Confederation debuff. We may need to uncollect income for a while in a few places. We're already not collecting it here. Okay, we'll check out public order in a second, probably before we fight again. Let's first figure out where we want to send Mr. Peter here. Ikit is right there, and which direction is he facing? He is facing this what? It could be just the way the wheel is turned. He might be going towards Brion. I mean, he's not going for Quinnell because Durthu will kill him. Alright, I think we're gonna head towards Brion, so you are gonna move, let's say, here.
We're there.
And we're gonna pop you into ambush stand.
Ambush
Like so.
positions.
You'll continue healing
the
because it's a
pace.
friendly territory, and then we'll move to Brion. We can't heal in these guys' territory, unfortunately, because we're not allies, though. So let's just hope that it comes closer to us. I mean, the AI should, in theory, be able to see that Massive Orcal is there, and it should be easily takeable. Though, once again, Durthu is here with his absolutely ludicrous movement range. Look at that. Damn, he can move far. I wish we could move that far. Oh well. Let's see what else we can do this turn, before doing the rest of the admin, mind you. Wolfram, you are chasing Vlad, and I don't see that ending at least until next turn, so let's keep you moving, buddy. Not in our own territory anymore. Nud, you are following along as well. Still suffering attrition, mind you. And before I forget, let's give you, let's say, Beast Slayer. At least for now. I'm probably going to swap a bunch of these items around later on. But for now, let's give you a Beast Slayer. Weapon strength, melee attack. I do like the physical resistance and the vigor per second, though all vampires do magical damage, so the physical resistance isn't actually as useful here. But it's still better than any other option. And it's not like Relic Sword is doing much for us right now. Yeah, you're gonna have Beast Slayer. Maybe we'll give you something else later on. Actually, what we could also give you is, let's check out Imperial Adjutants. We don't really need to do anything with regards to our other provinces, at least not right now. Not until we're at about 13 Imperial Authority again. At that point, we will probably want to confederate Balthazar Gelt, though he is still doing fairly well to the south. How is Karakazor? Maybe we want to wait until he levels it up to tier 4 so that we don't have to pay for it. I'm not entirely sure. Zvorak isn't all that useful to us either. Although we could declare war on the Border Princes and take their stuff, I still feel like we should destroy Karakharn, take Akendorf, as well as whatever other Imperial provinces they dare to take. Plus, they are at war with Balthi, and he's gonna appreciate that, so we can get a little bit of money for joining it. Anyway, adjutants is what I was talking about before I got derailed. Imperial adjutants, let's go for... Man, 4.3k. That's intense. Wait, do you currently have a handgun? What do you currently have right now? Yes, you just have the handgunner. Maybe it's time to start getting those greatswords on the field. We could give it to him temporarily and then switch it back to Karl right after. These things are only going to get more expensive after all. Yeah, fine. Patrol Captain Greatswords. We should still have the 2,000 requisite prestige remaining right after, because we had about 8k. And then Halberdiers. This will help against Vlad if he summons a massive pile of units and attacks us next turn as well. And there we go. Ooh, that's a little bit less than I wanted. Okay, well, hopefully we don't get screwed over. My bad. Miscalculated slightly. Let's see. What do we take off? Gonna have to be the Pit Fighter. And I guess the Ranger's standard. And ancillaries, Great Sword Captain, and Halberdier Captain. There we go. And did I take away your talisman, or did you just not have a talisman? I mean, we could give you... Just hold on to the Obsidian Lodestone. Useless. Man, another thing I don't like about Stahlberg's letter is that we can't take a potion of toughness because we have it. Also, Empire Captain. You, if anything, should be holding... Huh. Wait, you can hold it... yes to the student, but that wasn't what I was looking for. Pit Fighter. I wonder if this actually works. Huh. Interesting. Well, let's do that. I'm not sure this actually works for non-lords. Like, technically, you can take campaign movement range, right? On heroes, but it doesn't actually transfer to the army. Would be nice, though. Entertainers we don't need here. None of this we need here. And who was using our second brass cleaver? Nobody. Which means that you, my friend, are now the one using it. Lovely. And that'll buff up our melee line as well. Alrighty, is there anything else that we need to do with you? You are
Champion
pretty
of the
prepared. Let's get you some skill points, I guess. I guess we could save the skill points to level 10, so we could get to Remember Your Training or any of this. An Officer's Squad. Minus 3% upkeep is really not all that worth it. Discipline there. I'm not just wondering if this is actually worth it. It really depends on what the Officer's Squad is and how well it does, because a Demigryph should power this guy up fairly considerably, and all of these buffs to him will make him a very strong duelist. After all, our Archlector is more of an infantry blender due to Grand Soulfire than he is a duelist. For now you can have Hold the Line, but maybe we don't get Tough, or maybe we don't get For the Cause. Maybe we go for Tend the Warhorses instead. Granted, it's a reduction to cavalry, which this particular army won't have much of, but it might still be useful. You are probably going to be Knights Panther, but, you know, it'll be a while before you get those, so let's just hold off on that for now. Alrighty, who's up next? Mernhardt, you are good. Marcus Huss, who are you? Oh, right, this guy. We summoned you specifically to join this army over here, because we need to add your accusation ability to that army, as well as the more powder ability. Otherwise, that looks good, at least with regards to our armies. Now let's do our buildings. Let's see what we got. So, let's go through these one by one. Castle Tempelhof. You are in Council Burgomeisters. We can get the farm upgrade if we wanted to. We do want the extra growth. And it's not worth collecting the income, especially while we have the Confederation debuff. Oh! I just had an idea. I just had an interesting idea. So the Confederation debuff is causing us a pretty massive amount of control reduction. You know what counteracts that? Getting bonus control. MARAZ gives us control +2 all province. Hey, MARAZ has magical attacks now. Am I crazy, or was I remembering? Did I dream this, or did MARAZ not used to have magical? Maybe it was updated slightly. Either that, or I've gone completely insane. Anyway. There was a comment I just want to address as to what the debuff, you know that Whispers of the Gods, do you hear the whispers too, whatever it is, that you get. This is the buff that you get afterwards, after you take all those negative debuffs. It's a pretty darn strong buff for 10 turns only, granted, but the research rate alone at 25% would be worth it. The control +5 counteracts the control that you lose from the debuff, and the passive ability Blood Frenzy is not only pretty strong, but it also applies to, I believe, every single unit that you have, which is pretty darn crazy. So suddenly you have this pretty massive power-up. Pretty good. And the campaign movement range is also nice as well. So yeah, that is not what we're doing now. We're going to suddenly attack. After a few buildings, I guess. Just to separate a little bit, but yeah. I think it's time to fight the MARAZ battle. A, because Karl can't move. B, because he still has HP on his units. C, because it'll also increase his healing. And it'll increase the control massively to counteract the Confederation, plus the bonus control from MARAZ, which means we won't have to cancel a bunch of money, basically. Alright, well, in the meantime, let's see what we need to build and where we need to build it. We gotta go after the useful stuff. First of all, here, yes, Hellstorms have to be an absolute priority here. And we're going to build the paved roads for now. I know, we need to build the Temple of Sigmar, and we will. We will. Just not here and not now. Well, actually, maybe here, but later, but not now. We will build the Temple of Sigmar in Castle Drakenhof instead. And then we're going to have to delete something, and I'm not entirely sure yet what. It's probably going to be the Gunsmith. Either that or something else. If it wasn't for the public order issue, I'd just delete the tavern, because it's not all that useful right now. But yeah, I think it's going to have to be the Gunsmith. We can always rebuild it if we need to. But I'd like to build a Flagellant army, maybe even for Wolfram. Flagellants plus the Sons of Sigmar plus Sigmarite Disciples, all that sort of good stuff. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyway, the Wasteland, you can only get the growth here, which is great for you, but we can always get that next turn when the Recruiter moves in and helps you out. Castle Bastogne, you might as well upgrade that Clothier. And do we want to upgrade either of your actual territories? You know what we can actually do? We can do that with the Council of Burgomeisters so that the... Oh, wait. Next turn. And because if we take out State Troop the Levy, then Gregor won't be able to move as fast. Fine. Eschen. Let's do that. Definitely worth an upgrade right now. Massive 4 cal. We'll keep you as you are. I think we don't want to invest in you too much, because we might trade it away, as somebody has suggested in the comments as well. And I believe that's pretty much it. I guess we could get this Clothier at Oakenhammer as well. Nah, but the public order will fix itself, especially once the vampiric corruption is gone. Anyway, that's about all the cash we've got, which means now it's time for another fight. MARAZ. Alright, let's see what we're looking at. Decisive victory, casualties low, but this is without the reinforcements. And I know for a fact that there will be reinforcements. Ward save 10% for Malice. That's not Malice. Malice Darkblade? That's a little bit confusing. But okay, we'll see what that means later. Now we get a little bit of a Dwarven ally as well. Isn't that just swell? We will... I should have read the quest. We'll read the quest right after. Let's do this for now. Karl Franz has so far shunned the use of MARAZ, symbol of the Emperor, for fear of further angering those hostile to his coronation. But should he be victorious this day, then the Warhammer can be claimed with clear conscience. But first he must face a massive army of orcs and goblins in Blackfire Pass, just as Sigmar did before him. And as with Sigmar over 2,000 years ago, he hopes that the dwarfs will be there as allies.
Now is the time, men of the Empire, to unite, for the orcs gather. Beyond the pass, a war boss draws to him all that is foul. An orc horde beyond imagining. As Sigmar fought, so shall we. We will become part of the legend. We will wipe the orcs from our door. And only when this is done, when our nation has healed, shall I take up MARAZ. For Sigmar, for the Empire, for the Warhammer!
Alright, well it looked like Karl doesn't want to make a special or a second speech after that one. Makes sense to me, and there we go. Nice shot of him flying up through Blackfire Pass right there, only to duel an enemy lord in the air. He's going to take a few hits, and Doom Divers are going to fly overhead to drop down in our army as we advance upon this guild here. On the bright side, however, our Dwarfen allies have arrived from off field, mind you, and they are relatively slow, but they will get to us eventually, and then hopefully take a few extra hits for us. We do want to, of course, avoid as much damage as possible after this, because we will still want to proceed to Griffin Wood. Anyway, back to Karl versus, what's your name, buddy? Hack Spike. You are such a hack. Let's see. You got Get Back Here, which is giving a little bit of a buff, but with Fear of Aramar as well as Bone Crusher on you, you're much more debuffed than you are buffed currently. Our Wizard Theon also going to fly right by just to briefly apply the Helm of Discord to the enemy as well, and dropping his melee defense down to 15, so Karl at 137 should have absolutely no problem here, while Theon is going to bike himself drop down on the enemy Doom Divers with the hope that we can make those stop firing. Ah, interesting, there's 6 of them in SFO, huh? Neat. And speaking of, the Doom Divers are currently firing at our Imperial Foot, and it looks like they got a few hits in on our handgunners here as well, and I believe a few hits on our Bordermen, so they're getting a decent amount of value out of that particular unit, at least so far. How long that's going to last remains to be seen, however, as one of our Reiksguard units is going to loop around the enemy army and try to hit those Doom Divers with the help of the Celestial Wizard. Alright, and I didn't know that. Man, I've been using Helm of Discord for a long time, and I didn't realize that the debuff that it applies actually just moves around the hero. It's not a debuff that's instantly applied to the units that's around, and you can leave. Oh, that's really interesting. I gotta make sure to remember that. There may be further uses for that. Anyway, looks like our Reiksguard will get there soon. The enemy does have a pretty good position on this hill here, but I'm perfectly willing to wait a little bit. The handgunners here holding the enemy off while our grenadiers and our missile infantry specifically... That looked like it hurt. As well as our various handgunners gun down all those orcs and then follow suit to gun down whatever else they can get. Karl is chasing off the enemy lord, but it looks like the enemy reinforcements are here. A giant moving onto the field together with gobos, trolls, and more goblin wolf riders. Unfortunately, the goblin wolf riders moved so fast from off the screen that they did trap Theon, and he cannot get out. He doesn't have the mass to break through so many. So he's going to have to drop a lightning and Urnon's thunderbolt on himself, and just to make some space so that he can get away. Though as a celestial wizard, he should really be used to electrocuting himself periodically. Alright, try again. Failed to cast or miscast. You really need to get the heck out of here before that giant catches you, buddy. He could probably kill you in a few hits. There we go, Urnon's Thunderbolt coming down, and that opens up the space just as the giant gets here. Run, Theon, run, at least on the horse. You are on the Pegasus, rather. You're quite fast. Karl also drops down to help out the Reiksguard rather than let them be trapped between the giant and stuff, and they should have the mass to get through any of the gobos that are there. On the bright side, our friendly and Dowie allies have arrived, and they're going to move out in front of our main battle line here and hopefully start taking damage for us. Over on the side, the Zintler's Reiksguard, which were Vanguard deployed in this forest, by the way, and did get caught by a unit of Wolf Riders and 2 units of Goblins, but the latter are now surrounded by another unit of Reiksguard and Greatswords, who together should have no problem obliterating them. And there we go. Nice little separate fight in the middle of this wood. An anti-large or not. Actually, wait, the goblins don't have an anti-large bonus. Huh, despite using a spear. And 0 armor-piercing damage. 0, but it is a basic unit after all. Alright, well, ooh, lovely to see some gyrocopters with brimstone guns, I believe, or regular guns. Yeah, regular guns. Firing down on the gobos as they move once more and down that hill. But with the Dowie forward, we can apply our handgunners to where they need to apply themselves and not have to worry about our Imperial Foot or our Greatswords getting too hurt. Minus the ludicrously fast. Oh man, the ludicrously fast Wolf Riders. Whenever I see the Wolf Riders moving around, I can't quite tell whether it's whether the game is actually sped up or not. Ooh, another spell coming down from the enemy, and here comes an Arachnarok cresting the hill together with the giant, and it looks like the dwarfs are actually running from the giant. They don't want any part of it. They will run behind our battle lines, and it looks the great swords and Imperial Foot, together with the halberdiers that are behind them, guarding the flanks, are going to have to hold the giant instead. Karl's going to come down and help out with that, though, as we have a relatively limited amount of things that we can do to an enemy giant. At least with these units. Though the handgunners, of course, are going to start focusing on them. A really cool looking battle. I actually like the fact that the enemy has the hill position and the way that they keep coming down the hill. Makes for some damn nice shots. Alrighty, Karl somewhat dueling the giant, though of course he does have the help of his troops here. And our own handgunner shooting the giant in the back. The other handgunners are also focusing down the Arachnarok, and hopefully both will be deleted sooner rather than later. In fact, the giant's already lost about a third of its HP, and between the cannons and the handgunners, I don't imagine the Arachnarok will survive all that much longer either. Fortunately, the enemy Doom Divers have been completely seen off finally, as they did come back only to start firing again, but our Reiksguard now have essentially free reign in the enemy's back lines, and it's not like Goblin Wolf Riders can stop them, so they can just destroy anything that remains any kind of threat. Back to it. There we go, handgunners and cannons really working on that Arachnarok. And firing into the back of that giant, which is now dropped to about half HP, similar to the Arachnarok. Which one will rout first? And there we go. Really, this should rout first with the hammer of the witches firing on it. But no, it looks like the giant actually routs. Actually, I think they routed at roughly the same time. One had the hammer of the witches and one had Karl attacking it, so fair enough. and I do believe the giant at the very least is shattered, and the Arachnarok is shattered as well. A couple more shots, but we'll see it off, and the Gobos fly off of its howdah. Otherwise, it looks like the battle is pretty much ours. The Reiksguard cleaning up the last remaining enemies in the background. Here, a Dwarf Lord fighting some trolls who have decided to surround him, but it looks like they're losing the battle as well. And there we go, some nice shots from the Dwarf Lord's supporting aerial units, and the trolls have had enough of that as well. Karl chasing off one of the Goblin Shamans, I believe, here. But there's no need as the rest of the enemies rout, and suddenly the battle is ours. Man, a really fun battle. It ended a little bit too quick almost, but it was quite a fun time. And I like a snaking road, dwarfen road by the looks of it, through Blackfire Pass as well. I take it it's impossible to just build a fort here. Yeah, there's a lava everywhere and stuff. And guess it's not the most hospitable place. You know, I get the name. I get the name. Anyway, decisive victory for Karl, and more importantly, we now acquire a ludicrously powerful item and get those buffs that we've been hoping for. Alrighty, there we go, 193 losses, though I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it combines both our losses and those of our allies into one thing, so kind of unclear who lost what. The enemy kind of refused to leave one of our bordermen units alone, and I know this unit was basically at full HP, if not completely at full HP, so that unit definitely suffered. Both the Doomdiver catapults and the enemy lord kept targeting it with spells, even when I moved it far beyond the rest of our forces, where the bordermen couldn't even fire or reach anything. The enemy still really wanted it, but that's okay, because ultimately they failed and Karl has a GHAL MARAZ. And let's pardon those captives, because it makes sense. Pardon captives. I'm gonna pardon all these orcs. I guess pardon aka don't chase them through Blackfire Pass. Just prevent them from coming through. And there we go. And there's that buff, and control +2 all provinces, melee attack +10, sundering attacks, which is always very valuable. Then we got the GHAL MARAZ ability, which is an armor-piercing weapon damage, splash attack, charge resistance, and bonus versus large buff, and for 45 seconds at that, plus a straight-up 100 armor-piercing weapon damage, and even more weapon strength against demons and chaos and Norska. Makes sense, as it's arguably the most powerful weapon that exists, or certainly up there with the best of them. Initiate, corruption -3, sure, there's a few places where we can use that. Competent protector, I'd like to think so. If nothing else, Karl certainly is a competent protector. And there we go, that's the buff that I was talking about earlier. Prophet gives us all of these buffs and even more control. So currently we suddenly have +25 control, and another +2, and another +5. So all of our provinces can perfectly happily just get all the money, because there's no need to not keep them getting money. I'm just now thinking that maybe there's a few provinces that could grow, but we could just build growth buildings instead via the extra money that we get. Lovely. And this will be a very useful pickup. With all that extra healing, we will heal to full. On top of that, I guess we get healing both from Prophet as well as casualty or punishment rate bonus from this. That worked out, so if we can reach Griffin Wood next turn, we'll be able to take it out at full HP. I really find it weird that we get this, but a random Berserker sword. Is this random? I wonder. Did I just get an unlucky seed and we got the random common item? Either way. Alright, let's give this a quick read because I was going to do it at the start of the battle and then got too excited and forgot. Emperor Karl Franz has received an urgent message from the College of the Celestial Order. The Celestial Wizards have been concerned by an unusual eddies within the Wind of Azir and that portend doom for the Empire. Triangulating the source of the threat, it is revealed that a great orc warboss has arisen somewhere in the lands south of the Blackfire Pass. Or the Black Mountains, rather. His fearsome reputation has gathered many greenskin tribes behind him in a Wa, which is now headed for the main route from the Badlands into the Empire, Blackfire Pass. Whilst messengers are dispatched to alert the dwarfs, Karl Franz prepares to face the greenskin onslaught, aware that this is the greatest test that he has yet faced in his reign as Emperor. Lovely. Oh, and we got some more money out of that as well. Well, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that, but we are going to need it, alas, next time, because with that, we are out of it today. Next time, we will advance upon Griffin Wood with Karl, and we are going to see exactly what Be'lakor is up to. And we will probably also take out Vlad if Wolfram can manage it. Because, well, it really depends. He will be, however, healed up to full with this as well, which is going to be quite nice, unless Vlad attacks us himself next turn by sallying out. We'll see. There are also a few names that have been suggested, but generally, like, I don't like to add names until a unit has fought, and also, I forget like half the time, but please do keep reminding me if I forget, and otherwise, generally when units have fought, I will add those names. I used to do a thing where units needed to, like, distinguish themselves in battle to acquire a name, to earn a name, as it were, but at the very least, survival of a battle should be the minimum standard, I think. Sometimes. Though I'm not super consistent about it. Mostly I just always forget to bring my little paper where I keep where I keep my names written down in a list. I really gotta get a better method of doing this. Anyway, I digress once again. Stay tuned for more Karl. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.